Hi, good morning, students. Hopefully, you're having a terrific Thursday. Today, we're going to talk about fish, amphibians, and reptiles. So, how are fish, amphibians, and reptiles alike, and how are fish, amphibians, and reptiles different? There are more differences in fish than in any other group. Characteristics of fish: fish have fins, and those fins are attached to their exoskeleton. The fin steers, help the fish to balance, and also help the fish to move around. Fish have scales, but not all fish have scales, but most fish have scales. Fish scales are hard, thin plates that covers the fish's body. Again, not all fish have scales. You have clean fish that are scaleless, but they have a thick mucus to protect their bodies. Sharks and rays have something called placard scales, and those scales look thick, and there's an overlap in those scales. Lobfish have Gaynard scales, and these scales do not overlap. Most bony fish have Tennard scales. Scientists believe these Tennard scales reduce drag when fish swim. And fish also have something called cyclard scales. These give fish flexibility. These scales are thin and overlap. So fish's bodies have two-chambered hearts. Some sharks even have a sense of smell. Gills. Gills help fish to exchange gases and oxygen and carbon dioxide. So, such as oxygen and carbon dioxide helps the fish to be able to exchange those gases. How do fish feed? Fish can be filter feeders, and sharks are filter feeders. They take in small fish as they swim about. Chewers, you have the parrotfish. The parrotfish use their beaks to bite off pieces of coral, and 90% of the day of a parrotfish, they're just eating on coral, and they have beaks like parrots. Rooters are soft fish. They use their teeth and their snout to root out their prey and the things that they eat. And finally, we have electric shocks. Electric shock. Electric eels stun their prey to death so that they can enjoy them for dinner later on. So they are stunned. The electric eel stuns or shocks the prey, and then the prey die, and then the eel takes them along and they eat them. Fish also can be reproduced sexually, but there's a big question. Some fish have jaws and the others do not. The female fish do lay the waters and eggs, but still are do all fish are not all fish do reproduce sexually, but not all of them have jaws. So fish that have jaws are sharks, but then fish without jaws are known as lampreys and hagfish. Then we have something called amphibians. Amphibians have two phases of life. They live part of their life in the water. The word amphibian means double life. And then the other part is spent on land. All amphibians have three chambered hearts, and they go through a metamorphosis. They reproduce in water and they lay eggs. And this is just a chart of a frog. And they start out as this little one cell looking organism, and they become more complex. Frogs and toads have short bodies, but salamanders have long bodies and they're slender. Scientists research amphibians all the time, and they're useful in our everyday life. Even some people use amphibians for um, food. Some people eat fried frog legs. They say it tastes like chicken. Finally, the last group of animals we're going to talk about are reptiles. Reptiles are ectotherms, and they're cold-blooded. They have dry, thick waterproof skin, and the scales cover the reptile skin, which helps reduce water loss and protects from injury. Reptiles also have this ability too. Their young reptiles develop in amniotic eggs. And when you talk about humans, when you say amniotic, that means it's a fluid that covers or protects the the baby when it's in the mother's womb. So I'm sure that the amniotic is fluid that protects the young from being hurt while they're in the shell. Most lizards have legs, but snakes do not have legs. So there are lizards that have legs, but snakes do not have legs. The largest group of reptiles includes lizards and snakes. Then keep in mind that you do have turtles, which have bony shells made of two parts. Then alligators and crocodiles are also reptiles. And I want to reiterate, I want to remind you that remember, ecto means cold blooded. So when it gets cold outside, reptiles tend to get a little bit slower. And then some of them almost seem like they're frozen. And if they don't warm up, they may eventually die. And that concludes our lesson on today. Remember to log into Google Classroom and Flipgrid. Any questions that you have today, you can email me or you can post your questions in Google Classroom. Have a great Thursday.